Welcome to another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Wally. And today I am so excited to have on a 30-year-old from Chelmsford, England, a staple of the Chelmsford Tomahawks. As a boy in the World Juniors, was a bronze medalist in the World Juniors for Great Britain. As a man, a two-time silver medalist with Great Britain in the World Championships. Best known for his professional career, though, however, with the Cardiff Devils, where he's laced up for 451 regular season games, winning 2 Challenge Cups, 2 playoff championships, and 2 league titles. And he is starting his 10th season with the Cardiff Devils. And I'm pretty sure in the UK, if you play 10 seasons on a team, something happens. I'm not sure what it is. Welcome to the podcast, Josh Batch.
Thanks for having me. That's quite the introduction. Head's feeling pretty big at the minute, but
well, I tell you, you deserve it. You've there's actually not many players in professional hockey that play 10 seasons with any team anywhere, right?
Yeah, I've been lucky. I haven't had to play too many minutes over the years, so I haven't been too hard on the body.
I guess, yeah, well, the other thing is the coaches need to like you. They need to know what you bring to the table. And this will be like your third era of the Cardiff Devils, eh?
Yeah, definitely. I know you spoke to a few of the other guys about the old times and then the transition to the newer times with Lordo. And then obviously now Lordo's moved on and it's a lot of new faces around the team, new coach and everything. So yeah, it's exciting to see how this era is going to go, I guess you could say.
You'd probably be ready for some new practices and new stuff, eh? After how many years was it with Lordo? Like 5 or 6?
Yeah, it must have been 5 or 6. My memory's not the best at times, but it's got to be 5 or 6 years, I think.
Well, how I get into this is how we know each other, which is obviously we played together the first year of the new era of the Cardiff Devils with Lordo and Todd as the owners. And I've talked about that numerous times. But we won the Challenge Cup, and then that was when I used to play. Then you saw me do a lot of pregame speeches over my injured time, eh?
Yeah.
And last time I would have seen you was Wally night, but we've covered that too. But I guess Richie being named captain, I wanted to talk about because obviously the new coach has good taste in men, eh?
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think Richie was a fairly obvious choice. He's obviously been at the Devils longer than anyone, and like you know, he's just a perfect human. He does everything right on and off the ice, never makes a mistake. All the guys love him, so yeah, it's a natural choice for captain. He could probably be there another 10 years, the kind of shape he keeps himself in as well. So I think it's a great choice.
Yeah, definitely. So how's it been going so far with all the new boys? Who's the new clown of the team? Is there a real jokester in the room?
Well, Sam Duggan, he's been on the team a couple of years now. He's quite the jokester, I would say.
Okay.
I'm trying to think who else of the new guys. There's obviously still like the bedding in period. Guys are still a bit shy around each other. I'm sure, and like
it'll take a couple months, until like people are completely comfortable in their own skin in the locker room, eh?
Yeah, definitely. But I'm sure that their characters will come out soon enough. But they all seem like a good group of boys so far. Just unfortunately, I haven't been around in the last week because as I'm sure we'll touch on, I'm isolating due to the COVID protocols, which is a shame.
Well, that's what we'll get into then right now is where and what are you doing now?
So I failed a COVID test at the start of this week, followed up with one of the PCR tests by the NHS, and because I didn't really have any symptoms, my isolation period starts from the day of the failed test. So that takes me to Saturday.
So do you do another test to see if it was a false positive or no?
Well, I did 2 lateral flows, like the ones you do. I did one at home, a couple at the rink as well. And then when they failed, I followed up with a PCR test with like a NHS site.
So you were
I
positive for,
think
so you have, you got her then. All of them
yeah,
failed. And then, so you feel fine though?
yeah, I kind of had a bit of a cold like symptoms, but like nothing serious really. I mean, if I didn't fail the test, I probably wouldn't even know that I had it, to be honest.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, it's obviously a shame missing the two CHL games last week, and then I can't travel this week either, so I'm missing the first four real games this year, which is a shame.
Yeah, that sucks. And so you missed the game last weekend where the Devils upset Lausanne and beat a Swiss A team at home.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, that was a tough one to miss. Knowing like the feeling in the room afterwards and how the building would have been. That was a shame, but I'm sure we'll have a few more wins this year, hopefully.
Oh yeah.
But,
Well, I got to say the pod's exciting news for the day was that weekend there where the Devils were back. One of my first ever sponsors with Todd's episode and the Goats update was Naya Security, and they
yeah,
they sponsored me to try and get back in with the Devils, and they ended up making a deal with the Devils, and they are now the security team again for the Devils games, and they were so happy about it all. They FaceTimed me and the family at the game, and
oh really?
yeah, so it was pretty cool. I don't know if the pod had anything to do with them getting the deal, but that I had my first sponsors were happy. That it was pretty cool for the pod that I was a part of something like that.
Yeah, you're like the remote business development manager.
Yeah, yeah. Basically do a pro bono though, usually.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you're earning your 1.5% stake in the Devils. I've
It was
heard a lot of
supposed to be
chatter about.
2.3%, but no, things have gone cold there. They won't even hit retweet, Josh. I'm
I
gonna send
listened
this
to
out
Todd's
there and they're just
episode.
gonna let it pass by. They're not even gonna hit retweet. I guarantee it. Now it's like a game
Oh,
for them. Now they're just playing hard to get.
yeah, that's all. Everyone loves to chase.
I guess so.
Gonna make you keep chasing them.
Well, now the Clan and the Steelers have retweeted my episodes. So just saying, Devils, it's only hitting a button, right, Josh?
Yeah, that's it. I'll try and push from my end for you.
Okay. Well, so then what are all the protocols for COVID then, since we were talking about that? I don't want to skip over it. What all do you guys have to do now to play hockey?
So from a testing perspective, if you fail a test, it's 10 days isolation from the failed test date or from when you showed symptoms. I didn't show any symptoms, so for me it goes from the test date, and then because everyone on the team's double vaccinated, they don't have to isolate unless they fail a test. So like even my partner Natasha, she doesn't have, because she's double vaccinated, she doesn't have to isolate either. But yeah, so we've been doing tests at home, and she's still passing tests, which is strange, even though like we're in the same house and stuff. But yeah,
Weird stuff.
strange.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just curious about that. So this may get into that your partner Tasha there, but random question: do you recall Operation 41?
Yes, I do. Unfortunately.
Any insight to the listeners what that is? I don't know what that is.
Depends what sort of audience you want to cater to, really.
Okay, no, I just yeah, no, I heard actually Tasha, your gal now, she is probably one of the funniest girls I've ever met. I remember her being on the team bus back from, I don't know what it was, maybe winning the Challenge Cup, and
Yeah, I think so.
that girl can banter with the best of them.
Yeah, she's like, she can give it and take it as good as anyone. But yeah, she's a good laugh.
Yeah. So where do you guys live now? Where are you in Cardiff?
Yeah, so since Tash moved here to like live with me during, I think it was the first season that we were together, she ended up getting a job, so we decided to stay a year round, and now we've got a house together pretty much 3 years ago. We're kind of like in the northeast part of Cardiff, Pontprenai. It's like just off the M4 as you go to Newport kind of thing.
Okay. I wish I still
And
remembered all that stuff.
yeah, I don't think it's a part of Cardiff you wouldn't really come to. There's not really much here really. It's mostly just housing and Asda.
Right.
But it's yeah, nice little spot.
Well, that's good that you own that place.
Yeah, live on the same road as Ben Davies and Joe Myers.
Oh, really? Some devils there,
Yeah,
eh?
yeah, little community we got going.
So Ben Davies is he's back on the Devils too, eh?
Yep, he's back.
He's a good player. I always liked him as a Brit in the league.
Yeah, he's one of those players you hate to play against. We always give him a lot of stick because I think a lot of people on our team think he dives. But like if you know Ben, you know he just falls over a lot. Like we've been on the ice in the summers and he'll be down one end by himself shooting pucks, and you'll just hear like a collision and he just fell over by himself, just standing still shooting pucks somehow. So he's just not the best on his skates, but funny to watch.
So he's like the new Mizey that falls down a lot.
Oh yeah, we were watching games of GB and you can always count on them falling over at least once a shift.
And okay, other thing for what are you doing now though is I've seen, because one of the reasons we knew each other, which I never mentioned, is we both went to Cardiff Met. You were doing your undergrad, I was doing the MBA, but I just saw you finished some schooling and you're you've prepared yourself for life after hockey, eh?
Yeah, I think I hold the record for the longest most time taken to complete an undergraduate degree. I think I was part-time over about 6 years, which isn't much to brag about, but yeah,
Well,
I
you're
finished
kind
that.
of busy with hockey and everything.
Yeah, well, I think first couple of years I was probably dragging my feet a bit, just kind of getting used to pro hockey and stuff, but then kind of picked up towards the end. But yeah, it was like you say as well, I was so lucky to have that covered by the team. Really sets you up for later life.
Weren't you doing financial planning or something? Isn't that what you just went through for?
Yeah, so I'm working the company that sponsors the team actually, Niche Independent Financial Advisors. A little plug for them.
There you go.
Yeah, I started working there. God, what was probably? I think it was January of. So it would have been 2019 because it was. I went full time during lockdowns. So in March of last year, I was there full time until recently, but we started back with hockey. But
so now what's the schedule? You still work there part time or not at all?
yeah, so I've gone down to like 16 hours a week. So it's kind of like 4 afternoons a week, or whatever I can fit in
Well,
around hockey.
yeah, even if you got your foot in the door now, and it'll make the transition after way easier, because I know it's hard for a lot of dudes.
Yeah, definitely. I'm sure you're aware, like especially now I'm 30, I'm getting on a bit. You kind of get to the end of your career, and I'm sure if you've got kids and stuff, even more so. But you kind of think like, wow, I'm like you feel middle age, and you feel like you have no experience in the real world, and you kind of, I know, like I always used to kind of think about what I'll do after hockey. So I'm lucky that Niche have been really flexible with my work and stuff around hockey.
Oh, that's awesome that they've done that
Yeah,
for you. Yeah, sounds like
yeah.
you're in with a good company. Okay. Well, speaking of feeling old, is last night I got down for pickleball just briefly with the boys, and we had 8 middle-aged men out for pickleball, and in doubles I went 0-3. So I had a tough night on the pickleball courts last night, Batchy, and that's with men aged, I guess it was 20 to about 50 something, and I couldn't even grease out a win last night.
You're basically a spring chicken in that group, then.
Well, yeah, I usually dominate the pickleball courts, but last night wasn't my night.
What is pickleball? I don't think I've ever heard of it.
Really? It's kind of like it's like standing up, running around on a tennis court like you're playing ping pong, but like the ball bounces off the ground, and then like you hit it with a paddle, and like you can put spin on and stuff, kind of like you're playing ping pong, but you're playing on a tennis court.
Oh, really? I've never heard of that.
Yeah, it's actually really fun. That's my new sport now. That's what I do.
Yeah, but it's a good bit of exercise.
Singles is too much for me at this age. I'm more of a doubles player.
Mixed doubles.
Yeah, oh yeah, it's usually the guys in the neighborhood go down Tuesday nights, get some exercise.
Yeah,
Unless you got
get
a
away from the
podcast.
wife.
Yeah, unless you got a podcast. Anyways, moving on then, we better get into your career here. I don't other that yeah, we'll get into that later. How do you get into hockey growing up in Chelmsford, England?
So it was no family connections or anything. I literally just we were watching. I think I was 7 at the time, watching BBC or ITV, and the Mighty Ducks film was on.
Good fleck.
Yeah, I mean when you're 7, it seems like obviously now you look back and you laugh at the action scenes, but back then you're watching it and you're like, wow, this is amazing. Yeah, I just said to my dad, I want to do that, and he was like, I don't think he's ever even been to an ice rink before. He's like, you can't do that. Like, we live in England, you can't play hockey here. But yeah, he looked into it, and there was the rink in Chelmsford was like 10 or 15 minutes away. So he took me there like one Saturday. He couldn't skate, I couldn't skate, so he's walking around in his like steel toe cap work boots, like holding my hand. And the attendant comes up, she's like, what are you doing? You can't like walk around in boots on the ice rink. And my dad's like, well, I can't skate. I'm not gonna let him walk around, skate around and like crack his head open if he falls over. We're like, well, you have to get lessons or something. So I had lessons with the whoever it was, a figure skater, I think, and then from there just started the junior program, and yeah, just haven't stopped since really. I think that was 8 when I started with the juniors. Luckily, it was a pretty good program in Chelmsford.
It made me think of you out on the first day skating there. Made me think of the Big Blue Tent and all those penguins and all the kids that would be skating around with the penguins. What a melee it would be out there. There would be kids everywhere, and like you would think kids are gonna crack their head open because nobody knew how to skate.
Oh no, it's just like running on ice. Yeah, I don't think they had those back in 1998.
Yeah, you were probably just pushing around the chair. Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, it was
Was your old man not a boxer?
Yeah, he was. He didn't really do much sport growing up. Then I think he was boxing before he had kids, kind of like as an amateur. I think when we were still younger, he was still boxing amateur. Like I think he won a few kind of titles around like the southeast of England and stuff. I think he had the option to turn professional, but I don't think my mum really wanted it. So after that, he started playing rugby for a local team.
Jeez.
I don't think she was a big fan of the boxing, what we're having kids and stuff. So yeah, he started playing rugby and ended up just having fights in the rugby pitch instead.
Yeah, I was gonna say rugby doesn't sound that much more safe, but I guess yeah, I know once I had kids, I wasn't joining any boxing leagues or rugby leagues. So I'm in pickleball, right?
Yeah, maybe that's what he should have done. His body's a bit. He's turned 60 now. His body's paying the price. I think he's got a few bad shoulders, bad back, but.
Well, if you can find hockey in Chelmsford, I'm sure you can find pickleball.
Yeah, I'll run that by him and see what he says.
Easier on the body. So how many kids would be playing hockey in Chelmsford?
We had enough for like I think one team in every age group really.
Yeah.
So it's pretty much if you wanted to play, I think you're pretty much on the team. I think kind of as I was getting towards like 16, 17, 18, when the program was getting, it was quite like a well-known program. I think kids would come from other clubs and stuff. I think they then had enough to run 2 teams. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't a huge number of people, but
right.
We made do.
Okay. Next question then is you do that growing up, and I saw you also play for, I think it's like, what is it, southeast or southeast England?
Yeah, that's it.
So is that like the all-star team then of the kids from that area of England then, I guess?
Yeah, so every year they have the conference tournament. It used to be in Hull. I think it's in Sheffield now. And there's a team from like the southeast, southwest, Midlands, Northern, and then Scotland. They all play against each other, and I think there's I'm not sure of the format. I think there's kind of a final and stuff. And from that tournament, they then pick the national teams for under 13s, 15s, and 17s. Or I think it's all changed now.
I was gonna say they make a team GB for teams that young.
Yeah, so when I was that age, it used to be England, and you'd go away to a tournament, usually like at under 13s and 15s. Went to the Quebec tournament.
Oh, that'd be fun. Did you go to that?
Yeah, obviously, yeah. I only do the 13s because it's a Pee-wee tournament, isn't it? But yeah, every year a team goes, the England team. But yeah, now I think it's a GB team, so I'm guessing they go instead. But yeah, that was a really cool tournament to go to in Quebec.
Yeah, I should have played there. Long story, but anyways, the part I wanted to know about is you made the decision somehow, so you must be doing pretty good at hockey in England, because you make the decision to go to the California Titans in 2009-10. How do you make that decision as like a kid and as a family that you go to California?
Yeah, so actually, for some reason, I actually left a year before that. I left when I was 16, so I finished you have your GCSEs over here at 16.
What's that, a school test?
Yeah, so that's kind of like here you go to school till 16, then you go to college until 18, and then university. But yeah, so I did my GCSEs, and then there was a guy did a hockey camp in Chelmsford, and he also ran like a showcase in Chicago, where like you go play on a random team of like other players and scouts are there from different clubs.
Yeah, that's the thing in the States. We don't really have them in Canada that much, I don't think. But
yeah.
So you win. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so there was me, my friend Danny, and then another guy from England as well. We all went over there, and Danny and my other friend ended up going to Columbus, and I went to a team in Colorado my first year.
You went to Colorado your first year. So you went to a showcase and then got picked up by a team, or were you recruited by that team?
Yeah, I think just they kind of expressed some interest, and then we went there. It wasn't like a scholarship or anything. Like we had to pay, it was a pay to play AAA thing, but
right. So your parents were okay with you leaving home to go over there to play minor hockey?
Yeah, I think at the time they kind of like sold us the dream, like, your son has a chance to go to the NHL and like all this kind of stuff. And obviously at that age, it was like my dream to go to America and try and get a scholarship and all that kind of thing as well.
Yeah, so, yeah, that would be it would be a pretty big day as a 16-year-old to be leaving your home country to fly over, and I guess they put you up with some billets then, or what?
Yeah, that was it. I lived with a great family called the Winklers.
Shout out to the Winkies.
Yeah, hopefully I haven't been back since I left, which is a shame. I do want to go out there someday, but yeah, it was at the time I didn't really think much of it, just as a kid chasing his dreams. But I can imagine how hard it was for my parents flying there and having to leave me and fly back, but yeah.
At 16, that's still pretty young to be doing that sort of stuff in my eyes.
Yeah, I know, but they were obviously the family was so nice. I think they felt comfortable me staying with them and all that kind of stuff, so that helped. But
so that's in Colorado. Yeah. So then do you start doing school in the US?
Yeah, so I did 2 years of high school as well, which was funny. Like being from England, you see the programs of like a football team with their leather jackets on and all the different like cliques, and then it was pretty cool to go over there and see all that stuff and go to the Friday night football games and experience all that stuff. It was good fun.
Just like in the movies, eh?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
So you were in Colorado and then you go to California. Why do you switch?
Just had there was I'm trying to think actually. I think it was a guy who was coaching in Colorado. at the same team was then coaching in California. So like a few of us went out there. So I think it was me and 3 other guys who were on the team in Colorado went out there
Okay.
to the SoCal Titans.
The SoCal Titans and the Bay State Breakers. Those are the two teams that's got you down on.
Yeah, the Bay State Breakers is another story.
Why? Give it to me. That's what we're here for.
Well, yeah. So after my last year of midgets under 18s, I attended to play for a team in the North American Hockey League, which is like Tier 2 Junior A in the States.
Yeah.
Went to their camp in whenever it was, like the end of summer, but I didn't have much chance to skate when I was home in England. So I went out there like not in the best shape, like hadn't been on the ice much and just got destroyed basically in the tryout. So I didn't make that team. And there was a coach there knew someone in Bay State, which was kind of like just outside of Boston. So me and my dad drove from Detroit, which is where the North American Hockey League team was. Drove like up through Canada over to Boston and went to this team. Then when we arrived there, they said they already had their 2 imports on their Junior A team. So then I was stuck on the Junior B team. It was the Empire Junior Hockey League.
Yeah. Well, one thing I would say, your old man came over, then drove you from there to there, and then they are full with imports anyways. But it's safe to say your old man has supported your hockey endeavors, eh?
Oh yeah, definitely. Like, I don't think you really appreciate it so much at the time, but looking back now and kind of having grown up responsibilities, yeah, you look back and just really thankful for everything your parents have done throughout your career to get you where you are.
Yeah, it takes a lot for them. Okay. Well, so you're playing for the Junior B team. I don't know what the level's like out around there for that, but you are on GB's radar and you make the World Junior team while you're playing in the States, eh?
Yeah, so I think I went back around Christmas times. I think that's when the tournament was. We were in Belarus with GB there. We had a good team. It was like me, Ben Davies, Bouncy, who else? Farmer was on the team. We had quite a good age group, so we were out there for that.
And I said that your age group is that all those guys. So you're 30 years old. What year were you born?
91.
91's a good year for the Brits, eh?
Yeah, we had a pretty good team. There was a lot. I'm sure it's the same in every age group. There are so many players who like were way better than me and that kind of thing. But the opportunities just aren't really there in the UK, and they kind of fizzle out, and they just kind of go into the real world, which is a shame. But yeah, we did have a really good age group, I think. I think they might have got relegated the year after we left, to be honest.
No, I guess there's always the relegation moving up and down, but you won what, silver medalist when you played? Did I write down, or bronze? You were bronze medalist.
Bronze, I think, for under 20s. Yeah, it was. I think we relied on Bouncy every game, which probably had like 50 shots a game. But
is he in 91 too?
Yeah, Bouncy is.
Did he have the tramp stamp back in the World Juniors? That was probably later.
Yeah, a few years after, but he got that from when he held the torch for the Olympics.
Right. Yeah, there was a torch on there or something. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like a butterfly or something. I forget what it was.
Yeah. Flowers.
Oh man, yeah, you guys. He's done well for himself, eh? And one thing I had written down, I'll bring it up now, is like the special relationship the Brits have in that league, and like you guys all like root for each other, even when you're on different teams. You all want to see each other do well, and then when guys leave to become Brits, I always see it on like social media and stuff. You guys always have each other's back. It's not like Canadian players or American players that are all in it. Like once you get to pro, they're all in it for themselves. The Brits have a whole different relationship, don't they?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's a bit, obviously over here, it's a bit different to North America, where in North America, it's kind of like, what do you call it? Kind of like a meat factory, you know, they can just churn through players. And I think you kind of have to be a bit selfish over there. Whereas over here, there's not isn't a kind of a limited supply of Brits, isn't there? And we all grow up playing with each other, and then on like the national team and stuff, everyone knows each other through that as well. So yeah, there's quite a strong bond between all the British players. Like you say, and like for Bouncy, for example, when he goes abroad, everyone wants to see him do well and fly the flag for the country. Same with Liam Kirk, you know, he's paving a way for the next generation, hopefully, with what he's doing. So yeah, I think everyone does support each other quite well.
I guess it's very similar that way as it is like when an EIHL team goes in the Champions League and wins a game, right? It doesn't matter if it's Sheffield, Cardiff, Belfast, everybody in the league like celebrates it because it legitimizes the league, the same as Brits going abroad and doing well as imports. And then what you guys have done in the World Championships just legitimizes the league and the players, right?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I noticed after the game against Lausanne, I saw pretty much every team in the league tweet something saying congratulations. Like even Sheffield, who like we have a massive rivalry with. So
big
yeah, I think,
big
like
supporters of the pod though. They'll hit retweet, Josh. They'll hit retweet.
I hear you. But yeah, yeah, I think like you say, the league probably doesn't have the best reputation among some other circles in hockey. So I think the kind of results in the CHL, like when Nottingham got through to the second round and stuff, I think it just bodes well for
cool,
the league,
right?
really.
Yeah, I think it's great. But okay, we were in World Juniors. Where was that tournament? Where did you play it and win the bronze medal?
It was in Belarus. It wasn't in Minsk though, I don't believe. It was a different town. It wasn't a whole lot there. It was just kind of, they had the rink, like big arena. Sorry, it wasn't a rink.
Is that your first time playing for GB?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I went to the trials or tryouts, as you would say, for like for the under-18 team, but I didn't make that for whatever reason. I think because I was in the US as well, so I maybe didn't attend some of the tryouts. But yeah, I made the under-20 team in my what do you call it, like the
age group?
Because you can play. Yeah, so you can play when you're younger, obviously, but I made it in like my final year of eligibility, which was good.
And
but
so
yeah, it was
okay, so you were playing Junior B that year, then you make the World Juniors. So then I got it written down here now that you move back to the UK and sign with the Cardiff Devils for the very first time, right? So how does that all happen? And why Cardiff when you're in the States and doing under 20 World Juniors? How do you end up with Cardiff?
So after the World Juniors, I went back to Boston to finish the season there, but I caught glandular fever.
Say what now?
I went back to Boston after the World Championships, after Christmas at some time, and I caught glandular fever.
Glandular fever.
I think you call it like the kissing disease.
Oh dear. I don't know.
Yeah.
Was it bad?
Yeah.
Were you kissing
I'm trying to think.
girls?
I'm trying to think. I think there's a different name, but I think you call it mono, maybe.
Mono. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the kissing one. Mono. That's a tough one, isn't it?
Yeah, it was weird. So I like wasn't feeling well. I remember I went to the doctor, got some sort of medication before they knew what it was, and like my skin all over my body came out, and like it wasn't a rash, but it was, my whole skin was like discolored, kind of looked like a rash, but it wasn't raised or anything. And then they realized, oh, okay, it must be something else. They tested for that, and I think because of your spleen can enlarge if you have it, so you're not able to do any physical sports for like 3 months. So that was pretty much the end of the season. So once I recovered, I just went home and finished the summer in England. And at that point, I kind of realized, I think I was 20. I turned 20 that year. Kind of realized, yeah, college isn't going to happen for me. So kind of thought I'd try and see if I could pave a path back to the UK and try and make some sort of money rather than having to rely on my parents any longer. luckily I knew Ben Davies and another guy, Sam Smith, who played for the Devils at the time. They spoke to Franny, and I came down for a little tryout. It was more of a 3-on-3 full ice session. So I was pretty gassed, didn't feel too good about myself, but there was another guy who just left who was a defenseman, so they were happy to sign me for that first year.
So Franny's the one making those decisions back then? Was he the one like deciding what players they take?
I think he was probably working. The coach back then was Jared Adams. I think Franny was the only one who was at that session. I imagine he consulted with G about it, and I think it was just lucky that they were looking for a British defenseman at the time.
So at that point, you had no ties. At that point, you have no ties to the Cardiff Devils. It's just, that's how it happens, is you just kind of went for a tryout and ended up with Cardiff.
Yeah, that's it. Like I said, I just knew one of the guys, and they kind of got in touch with the team for me.
Okay. And that's back when it was different ownership. You're in the big blue tent, but that would be the same year that former Potter, Frank the Tank, was on the team, right?
Yeah, Chris Frank. Yeah, he lived just down the road from us in Heath. I remember he was in the house with Jeff Pierce and Scott Dobbin, I believe.
I know both of those guys. Jeff Pierce, Western Michigan. Scott Dobbin, former Sugar King with me in Junior B before he went to the OHL.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're all both my former teammates. So I guess that whole house was.
Where did you play with Chris?
Frank the Tank was Western Michigan. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he was just like a couple episodes ago.
I haven't listened to him yet.
Yeah, it was a good one. I talked about trying to break his testicle one time. That was when I was playing for Cardiff because I knew he didn't wear a jock. It was a good time.
He taught me a few tricks of the trade when I was a young rookie.
Do you wear a jock?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, okay. I will, now that I'm back in the game here, and I brought that up the one time, someone was telling me that there's at least a handful of guys on every team not wearing jocks now. It's like a new thing so they can skate better or something. I
went through a phase when I was in youth hockey, or under 18s, I think, where I didn't wear one. But
is that right? Yeah, it never even crossed my mind, because I know how much it hurts to get hit in the nuts. Like, why would you ever risk that? I remember taking a slap shot right off the cup once in college. Oof. And I laid on the ice holding my pallywhacker because it hurt so much, and I couldn't imagine not having a cup. I don't know what these people are thinking.
Yeah, I was probably playing hockey in the UK. There probably wasn't a lot of shot blocking going on.
Man.
But yeah, I would never not do it now.
That's you gotta be. Yeah, well, it doesn't make any sense to not wear a jock, folks, but yeah, so I know Frank the Tank. So what was the adjustment like your rookie year, and all of a sudden you're in pro after playing Junior B in the States?
Yeah, it was I was lucky, really. Obviously, the league was a lot different back then. I don't think it was this kind of standard it is now. Every team kind of went 3 lines and 5 or 6 D. So I think we had a lot of injuries and all that kind of stuff. So ended up playing more than I probably should have. Yeah, it was. I was kind of playing forward, I think, when in America my last couple of years. So
that's one thing we haven't really touched on. That is, you do flip flop back and forth. You are forward and a D, so that happened at a young age. You started doing that.
Yeah, so I was always a D growing up. We rush the puck and stuff, but never really had much of a scoring touch. But yeah, then in America I played, I think, my last 2 years as a forward. I'm not sure why. I don't know if I just wasn't really cutting it as a defenseman, maybe.
I remember, would Lordo not start you on first line wing to start games?
He did. I remember he'd done it once against Coventry, and he's like, whatever you do, just don't get a penalty. And puck got dumped into my corner on the forecheck. So just the meathead I am, just skating 100 mile an hour trying to get it, try and bump the D man, but he just flies into the boards head first, boarding penalty, 2-minute minor, straight in the box.
Tough start.
Yeah, I'm not sure if we ever did that one again, but It was nice that you had the confidence in me to do it.
Um, yeah, so I got sidetracked again, but basically, I find it interesting that they're actually, like you say, there's a lot of Brits that end up in the real world and don't, continue the journey. But I find it really weird that there are as many good Brits as there are, because when you talk about the minor hockey, it sounds like it's very rare that kids are getting into hockey, but that you guys have that many guys that can play in the EIHL and play well in that league. Like, I think it is strange that there's that many, but do you think it's like when you get to pro, you get a lot better when you get around that league? Like, do you think, like, when you're that age and you're 20 years old, if you're still playing junior B in the States, you're not improving like you are playing for the Cardiff Devils?
Oh no, no chance. I think if you were to compare like the obviously not being disrespectful to my teammates in America, but going from playing with junior B or even like midget AAA players to then coming to the Devils, and I've got like Chris Frank, obviously is like he'd been pro for quite a while. We had
Voth and
Brad Voth, Stu McRae, who else? We had Scott Matska. Obviously, he was a great player. Yeah, just having all those kind of people around was like, for me, it was just like felt really out of place, but it was obviously just a great learning experience to be around those guys every day and kind of see the professionalism that they had versus where I came from. And I think that's kind of the reason we have a lot of British players do as well as they do, just from being around like the experienced guys from North America and Europe.
yeah, I find it would probably be your first few years as a pro, right? When you first get around it, because like I think you need to be around guys that push you and make you better. Like it was like when I left junior B to go to college, it's a whole eye opener. And then you go from there to
Yeah,
pro, you have it again. And like if you don't make those steps, you don't improve like you should until you put yourself in uncomfortable situations, right? Like starting podcasts at 6 a.m.
yeah, I think that's absolutely it. Especially in this country, if you grow up and you're one of the better players, there's not really a lot of competition. There's not really much to push you. So I think you kind of see, like even throughout like the junior hockey, if the players kind of as they get older, the gap widens between like say our best players in North America or Europe. Um, so I think like a lot of what a lot of young kids do now, they kind of go abroad and play in other countries, and I think that just kind of helps develop them. I know Josh Waller, who's signed for Cardiff this year, he played in Czech for a few years before he came back to Guildford. And you can just see like in his skating, it's just at a level where it might not have been if he were just to stay in the UK and kind of not be exposed to that higher level.
Well, there's got to be some people around the hockey world then helping these Brits get in, right? Like how, like to think that kid, how does he get in with a Czech team, right? Like it just somebody's helping them get there, right?
Yeah, I think it might be. I know there's obviously a few coaches in the UK who are born in Europe or born in Canada who kind of have those connections.
And can vouch for a player. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think there's a few ex players of the elite league are coaching in the OHL and those kind of leagues, and I think that those sort of connections are kind of what help. There was another kid from Sheffield just been drafted to the OHL. I'm not sure if that was through a connection or not, but yeah, it always helps to kind of have that connection when you come from a
Well, it helps anywhere in
market.
hockey, right? Like it
Yeah,
helps anywhere. When you get to pro, if you know coaches and they tell other coaches about you, it
yeah,
changes your
definitely.
career.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay.
Especially when you come from a country like the UK, which people probably don't really know much about.
Yeah, no, but the people are starting to know about the UK hockey scene with like GB doing well in the World Championships. Like Bouncy's on
Yeah,
TSN all the time, man.
I know it's superstar.
Yeah, if everybody just knew about his tramp stamp,
Uh,
um,
he'd be even more famous.
wouldn't he? Like
Yeah,
people like that stuff. They like to get to know the players. That's all. That's all.
yeah.
Okay.
Too much of sports is I'm not sure what the word is, but too everyone's too polished nowadays, aren't they? Just say
You need
the
a little character, right? A little,
yeah.
little personality.
Everyone's just reeling off the textbook company lines, and
Yeah.
not really
Get the red
trying to
line, get
impress
it deep,
people.
work hard, block shots. Blah blah.
Yeah.
Okay. So you probably start getting a little more comfortable by the end of the year. You said you only had like 3 lines. I remember back in the UK, it was kind of changing when I first got there. Teams were going from basically having just enough players to get by to, like, by the time I left the second year, like teams were looking at getting 4 lines and all that, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think my first few years we'd sign like whatever the import limit was at the time, whether it was 12 or 13, 14, and then if you got injuries, you would just have to play short, or give one of the young guys more ice time. Whereas I think, I'm not sure if the first year we did, but in a couple of seasons gone by, we have an extra import now, and kind of you have guys competing for spots, which is obviously good for the standard in the league and all that. But yeah, that wasn't really the case back in like 2012, 2013. It was kind of, you signed your 3 lines and 60, and then if you got injuries, you played short. And then
Yeah.
if you got any more injuries, you
You
play even shorter.
played really short.
Yeah.
Okay, so well, that's good you got ice time and got in there, because like I know, like when those teams started filling up, and it's like guys like you talk about, like Jonesy, like he was a really
Yeah.
good player, and he never really got a lot of opportunity to show what he could do in the EIHL. And he's the type of kid that, like, if he's getting more minutes and playing more, you know, maybe he's still playing in the EIHL these days, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think it's kind of the problem with the league being a big trophy here. It's like a coach can't really
They don't want
put
to
out the
mix
force.
guys in. Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, every point counts. Whether you're playing Edinburgh on a Tuesday night or you're playing Sheffield on a Sunday, it doesn't really, the
They're all
two
the
points
same.
count the same. So like, for a coach to take a chance on someone, at the end of the day, it could affect his job if a team doesn't get it done or whatever. So it is a shame. It would be good if there was kind of a league between the Elite League and the current NIHL, to be more of like a developing
Like there used
league.
to be, right?
Yeah, like I think a lot of the current, kind of the older crop of GB players, when the Super League was around, which was like an all import league, there was a league. I think it was the I'm trying to think what it was. Oh, I've just got something pop up on the screen. Sorry.
Oh, that's all right.
Yeah, it was like the Heineken League back in the day, and a few other leagues that had like 6 or 8 imports. Which obviously then there was still the opportunity to learn from the experienced players, but then they also needed the British players to fill in on a power play and all that kind of stuff. So that was kind of like the best of both worlds, I think, in terms of development.
It
Whereas
is
now
it
in the
is
Elite
a
League,
thin line, eh? Like between
yeah,
having what product you want on the ice, and also having it healthy for Brits to be able to develop and get power play time, like, or penalty kill
yeah,
time, right?
yeah, definitely. I mean, you can't really blame the owners at the end of the day, because it's a business for them. It's not really their job to develop players
No, and
as much as
people
it
want to
would.
win. Think about if you lose that
Yeah,
game and what all the
exactly.
fans are going to say.
Yeah, exactly. I think obviously everyone wants the British player to get the opportunity and develop, but as a business owner, I don't think they can really, their priority is a business, unfortunately. It's just the way it is. So for them, they're going to want to put on the best product they can. But yeah, I think if there was like an intermediate league with kind of 6 to 8 imports, I think that
Yeah,
would
that'd
be
be cool.
a great league for development. But just comes down to I guess finances and having the teams available to do it.
Yeah, finances and like the rinks and fans, right? And
Yeah,
someone to put up the money to get her going. But okay, first year's over. We're moving on to the second year, and you were just a junior player. Then you play 1 year pro. Not or you said you lived just down the road from Frank the Tank, but your second year, you live with former Potter, episode 14, Deeds,
yeah,
and and also another Potter in Paul Bisonet, eh?
yeah,
Not a Potter on my show. He has his own show, folks. You might have heard of it.
yeah. That was a fun year, definitely. Obviously Biz wasn't there at the start. It was me, Deeds, and Jamie Milam. He was a defenseman for the Devils. Yeah,
Northern Michigan Wildcat.
yeah. I think he came a bit late to the team. I'm not sure what happened there, but and then I think he was released partway into the season. At which point Paul Bissonnette came in. I know you had Blighter on the show, didn't you? And he was kind of talking about the recruitment process there.
Oh
the first night. But yeah, that was obviously like at the time I was just like a deer in headlights. Like, oh my god, I'm living with Paul Bissonnette because he was such a big personality then, and he still is now. But
and he was in the NHL at that point, right? And you're just a young Brit living with him.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of just like, I'd like drive around town and stuff in my my 1998 Ford Focus. He was probably just like, I don't know what he thought at the time, but yeah, it was fun. Just seeing him, he was obviously talking about the professionalism and all that kind of stuff. He kind of brought that to another level, even though he kind of has a persona of like a what do you call, he's obviously like a jokester and all that kind of stuff, like always messing around, but he still took it really seriously, always like stretching and foam rolling and all that kind of stuff.
And when it came down to game time, he was a gamer, right?
Oh yeah, I think he surprised a lot of people. He was over a point a game, might have been over 2 points a game. I'm not sure exactly, but
yeah, when I played against him in the coast, he was really good. I've talked about that, but so Deeds, he signed in Italy again. He just got there too, so he's going to come on and talk about that experience this year too, I think.
Yeah, it's good. He's still going. He's got his passport in Italy, so he's probably going to.
He can play till he's about. He can play till he's about 75 if he wants.
Yeah. Yeah, he's a great guy. It was I enjoyed his episode a lot, actually.
Yeah, he seems like a great dude. I had never met him, and that's what I like so much about this is meeting new dudes. And then you ask around the hockey world, doesn't take long to figure out who the beauties are, and everybody raves about him. But the other guys you would have hung out with who were also Potters are the George brothers.
Yeah.
You're still hanging out with them though, eh?
Yeah, we actually played golf together in the summer, which was good fun. They showed up with they brought their own cooler full of beer and they had a speaker going. So we're driving around the golf course, drinking beers. They got like music playing like we're in Ibiza or something. It was
that was this year's golf tournament?
Oh, it was just me and the George brothers playing golf with Steve's girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
Just the four of us, but it felt like I was on holiday somewhere. The sun was shining. We had the beers going, had music playing as we were driving around. It was a great time.
There's nothing better than getting music playing golf on a nice day with some dandies. Yeah, I miss getting to do that as much as I used to.
Yeah, I've been meaning to play golf more, but I played once with them and once with my dad this summer, and that was it, unfortunately. But they're a hoot, as you would say.
They are the best. They are so fun, and I'm jealous you still get to see them all the time. Yeah, they can sure turn a night around.
Yeah.
Okay. So that year, I don't know if you guys are any good. Which year is it? No, it's before you get there when they break like the Guinness Book of World Records, like from all the wins in a row or whatever. You're not on that.
Yeah, that was a year before I got there.
Gotcha. Okay, so moving on. You had fun living with Deeds and Biz. I don't think you guys were that good that year. Then the next year is the third year you're on the Devils, which is kind of the last year for that era. And from what I heard, there were guys like not getting paid, guys like playing with broken sticks, right?
Yeah, I think to be fair, I always got paid everything I was owed, so I can't really fault them personally. But obviously, I think if you look at the elite prospects page, you can see the turnover of players we had. I think we went through like 8 goalies or something that year. There are a lot of changes and that kind of stuff, and I think we ended up finishing 9th that year, so we didn't even make playoffs. So yeah, it's definitely a low point in terms of the career.
Yeah, well, you know what, those things can happen when it's not the right people in charge and whatever. Sometimes you have tough years. It's not fun when you lose though, man. It changes your whole life, doesn't it? Like days just aren't as fun when you're in 9th place.
Yeah, exactly. Like every day you go to the rink and you know, it's just like a lot more pressure on everyone, isn't there, when you're not doing well and like that kind of stuff. So
It like yeah, you can feel it on your shoulders. You feel it the way you skate around in practice, and then when you're on a heater and everybody's skating around, laughing, having fun, hooting and hollering, bantering on the ice, and then
yeah,
something funny will happen at practice, and all the boys get laughing, and those are the fun days that I miss, not the losing
yeah,
days when you show up.
yeah, definitely. It's like you say, winning makes everything easier. I think everyone puts everyone in a better mood and just takes a lot of the pressure off.
So then after that year is, I guess that's when we meet each other the next year, and that's when Toddy and the new owners and Lordo takes over, right?
Yeah, yeah. Lauder was there the year before. I think he was just a player then. He did his. I think he was doing his MBA then as well. Maybe I'm not too sure.
You're right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
remember he was living with Jake Morissette and Brad Plumpton in like the heart of Grangetown.
Grangetown, nice spot.
Yeah. So that was interesting. So I think we went around there once before for like a team get together, and it was, I think there was like a few fights happening on a bus stop nearby and police cars. It was an interesting spot, but pretty close to town, so I guess it wasn't all bad for them.
Yeah, well, it's interesting being on a team for 10 years, eh? So you were playing with guys that then become your coach and all that, and now it's a whole bunch of new boys, eh? It's just interesting. The
Yeah,
hockey world, it just keeps on happening even as we get older.
yeah, it was a few people stuck around. I think Marshy was there the year
Yeah,
before, so he stayed. He was around. Jake Morissette, Lordo, myself.
obviously
I think
Richie's always there.
obviously Richie, and then yeah, a lot of new faces. Just when yourself, Bouncy, Hendo, Dougie. It was
Carl,
yeah, crazy
Hoth.
Carl. Yeah, it was the new era began. We had a like unbelievable group of guys considering how quickly the team was put together. And yeah, I think that year was probably one of the most fun. There was no pressure on us, and I think we just exceeded all expectations, really, didn't we?
Yeah, we did. And the no pressure definitely makes it fun, right? When you
Yeah,
like we did that year, we didn't have that good of a start. I was so confused at the start of that year because I felt like we were winning most of our games. Then I remember a practice, Lordo just going Looney Tunes about us being in seventh place. And I was like, how's that? Like, what? And then I realized that the Challenge Cup games meant nothing to
oh
do
yeah,
with the league. And we were winning the Challenge Cup games and not the league games at the start.
yeah, yeah. I think I remember that one actually, that episode. But yeah, it was yeah. I think we turned it around eventually, didn't we? And
We sure did.
probably could
That was a heater.
we probably could have went on to win the league potentially if it wasn't for the midweek collapse we had after winning the Challenge Cup.
People keep saying that that's only one game though. We played a lot of other
Yeah,
games.
that's
I
true.
I
Yeah,
think
I
if
remember
the
you saying
season
that.
would have been 10 games longer, we like our trajectory after the start we had, like we weren't losing games the last couple months, like ever.
Yeah,
But we
yeah. I
just
think
ran
once
out of
we
time.
yeah. I mean, even still to get the Challenge Cup, I think you can see how much it meant to the fans. It was the amount of fans that are in Sheffield Arena was crazy, and just the celebration afterwards, you kind of saw how much it meant. It'd been so long without a trophy, and then the year before being probably the lowest point they could remember as well in the recent memory. So yeah, I think that was probably one of the most special trophies that we've won, or I've won since being with Cardiff, definitely.
It was one of the most special ones I ever won too, just because I was near the end, and you're going to a team that wasn't expecting to do much, and you want to win one last time, and then when we did, it was pretty cool. Okay, moving on though, that is the first year you make GB the men's team in the world championship. So how do you find out? And like that's a pretty big moment, to make the men's GB team as a Brit.
Yeah, definitely. It's something I was aiming towards since, well, especially since I came back to the UK. Didn't really get us luck in the first few years, and made it that first year that the new owners were involved. I can't really remember how I found out, to be honest. It's a good question, but yeah, that was a great experience. We went away to Eindhoven in
Eindhoven is Netherlands.
yeah. So that was a good. To be honest, we really could have won gold there. I'm trying to think what happened. I think
Didn't
we
you guys
needed
blow it
Korea.
the last game against like a team you were supposed to beat? I think I watched it on TV. Right in my
Yeah, so I
thesis.
think we needed Korea to lose. I think they ended up. I think they like ran the other team's goalie, then ended up scoring other goals to win. So then we had to win our last game, and yeah, I think they scored like in the last half of the last period at some point,
Yeah, I'm
and
pretty
that was
sure I watched that game. We don't need to
yeah,
talk about it. So you got a silver medal though, but you got to play in the World Championships. That's really cool.
yeah, definitely, yeah. It was big, obviously a big milestone in my career, and I think that's even I remember since growing up, me and my coach in Chelmsford, he kind of put together like a 10-year plan, and one of the final goals was to play for the men's team. So it was I think yeah, definitely something I look back on and always remember.
Okay, actually I had something else written down. Is I think it was that year or the next year. We'll bundle them together, but when there's some big boys in that league, and now you've been in the league now, I guess 4-5 years. You're like mid-20s now, I guess, and
Yeah,
you start fighting some of the big boys, eh?
yeah, kind of. I guess probably just following Hendo's lead, really. Um,
Who?
but
So
yeah,
didn't you fight Westgarth? Who else have you knocked around?
no, I didn't fight Westgarth. Um, I think there's a defenseman from Coventry, Mike Egner, I think.
Okay.
I remember I had a fight with him.
Oh, it was Marshy that fought Westgarth, I think.
Yeah,
I remember that team though, man. Like we had like when you bring a team together and we talk about that season, like you, Hendo, there was Mitch and Marshy, like there were Lordo, there were so many guys willing to fight for each other. Dougie, like it was even Hoth would fight. Like it was
yeah,
crazy how much of a team we were, right?
yeah, definitely. I think that kind of closeness is definitely something that helped us win as many games as we did. And I think when you combine the team we had with the 10, it was kind of like the perfect storm for like the style of hockey we played. And I think the fans probably loved it because you're a big team in a small rink. So it was just carnage, really. I'm sure teams probably hated playing there.
It was hilarious. Sometimes we get a
Yeah.
couple shifts in there, and yeah, you guys would just be rutted guys, and the fans would be going absolutely nuts. Yeah, it was fun times.
Hendo be dropping hit checks.
Yeah, just dropping that big old caboose on people.
Yeah. Just
Oh, I'm
couldn't see it
starting to
coming.
wake up, guys. I'm getting funnier. The sun's up now. It's testing
Yeah,
yourself,
that was
Josh.
but yeah, it was a fun year, definitely.
So there's no other big names you fought like that were like NHL guys. I felt like you fought a couple of them, but maybe I'm
Um, the one I fought Keith twice. I'm not sure what year that was.
that doesn't
He
sound
ended up.
fun at all.
Oh, I just try and make him as short as possible.
Yeah.
And Boris Valabic, was that when you were in Cardiff?
Yeah. He was a big
That
defenseman. Yeah.
yeah, that didn't go too well for me. He's a giant of a man, but yeah, I think I was probably a bit too confident going into that one.
Really?
Yeah,
I wouldn't be confident fighting him.
no, I think we fought twice actually. So I think the first one when I came, and the second one he was probably like, okay, I'm not letting that happen again.
Uh, so are you still chucking knuckles?
Not as much now, really. I think there haven't been as many fights in general in the league the last few years, but this year looks a bit different. It's like there's quite a few characters, and I don't want to say enforcers because that's not really the kind of player that exists anymore, but a few tougher guys in the league. So you never know. We obviously got Mark Lewis as well. He usually takes care of all the heavyweights.
I was gonna.
Well,
He was a name I actually had written down because he was the guy that like his punch this last year and during the pandemic went viral, and I think he was playing in like Hungary when he knocked that poor kid out.
Slovakia he was playing last year. But
My
yeah,
goodness, that guy hit the ice. I feel bad for that kid, but like, you got to know
yeah,
what you're getting into, man. Like,
yeah. I don't think he knew what he was. I don't think he knew what he was on the, who he was facing there. And the
no,
linesman did like a running screen for him as well, didn't he?
he did. He skated right through to try and like he did just have the guy distracted for a second, and but like that kid looked like a deer in headlights, and he did not look prepared at all.
Yeah, no, I don't think. I think Lou would be top of my list of people not to fight.
Well, yeah, yep. It didn't look like I wanted to fight him based on that either.
No.
No. Okay. I'm trying to think of what else I got written down for that one. Yeah, so then that next year was when I guess I'm hurt, and then I went through my dark period and did a lot of pregame speeches for you. Did I ever fire you up for the games? Did it ever work?
Yeah, every time. How could it not?
I don't know. I was doing the best I
Yeah.
could to help.
The one I always remember, I was thinking about it yesterday when I was thinking about what we would talk about, was the one in Manchester.
Yeah, I know
'Cause I
that one.
think, obviously, I'm sure people don't know, but Manchester's away dressing room is, the ceiling's probably, I'm like 6'4", the ceiling's probably like 6'5", so it's like pretty cramped in there, freezing cold, like everything's damp, like there's like mold in parts of the ceiling and stuff. And then the toilet is obviously the same, never really flushes. And I think,
It's not a nice toilet.
no, we came in after warm up and like we're trying to go in the toilet. It's like, oh, it's weird, it's locked. It wasn't before warm up. What's going on here? And
Well,
then
that's when the glass broke too, right?
yeah,
that was in the middle of warm up. You guys went back out again.
yeah, yeah. So that's what they're going. I couldn't remember what it was, but I knew we were delayed. So you ended up probably being in there for like, I
Over
don't
an
know,
hour.
yeah, in like this tiny, damp, freezing cold toilet
Covered in dirt.
where, yeah.
Decent rubbed
So,
dirt all over me to make it more authentic. I was a Viking that night.
yeah, it was. I think there's probably a video of that somewhere, but I think they'll have to stay in a private collection.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
No, those were just for the room. No phones in the locker rooms, right?
yeah, no, I think obviously your career was pretty much ended then, and all the boys appreciated you were doing what you could to get us fired up before the game.
Yeah, well, you got to do what you can to help, right? When you can't play. At least I still felt like I was a
Yeah,
part of it. It was before I was doing that, and I like when I didn't have it, like I just go watch the games, man. It was so dark. I was so out of it. I didn't know. Yeah, and then you got little kids at home. Your hockey career's over, but you're living in Cardiff, still trying to be part of a team you can't play for.
yeah,
It was a strange year.
yeah. I can imagine. I know, like even with this past year of lockdown and stuff, not having hockey, kind of. I think you could sort of, it's easy to take for granted when you're kind of in the mix of it, and then I'm sure it's similar to you. Like when you're injured, it's taken away, and then like with COVID, it was taken away as well. I think you kind of realize how much it means to you, how much it means like being on a team and having that connection with all your teammates and stuff. So
It's
so yeah, I can imagine that was really hard.
it's like that for every player though, right? Like all the after hours
Yeah,
talks I've had on here. There's some people we bring it up on the podcast, the transition period, but there's been quite a bit of talk after the show of the struggles guys go through. And yeah, it's not being part of a team, right? You've done it your whole life. That's what you've done. It's who
yeah,
you are, and then all of a sudden it's just over.
yeah, definitely. Like I say, I kind of noticed it. I think it took me a while to kind of realize that I was missing it as much as I did, and then you kind of get back to things now, and you really appreciate it, especially after
Well,
like
now
working
with
from
this
home.
positive test, right? And now you're sitting at home watching them win this big game, and you're not a part of it. That
Yeah,
must have ate you up.
yeah, it was that was a tough one, definitely. But at least I know like I'll be back there soon. But yeah, I think like especially in lockdown, working from home, not really seeing anyone all day, and then not being able to do anything at night. I think it was. I'm sure it was the same for a lot of people. It kind of takes a toll, but
So you
yeah, I
start a
think
podcast.
yeah. We got a dog, luckily, so we had dog walks to keep us busy and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think it is.
Did you
I
guys
can
get
imagine.
married yet?
No, we were meant to get married this year, but obviously,
That's what I
I
thought.
think with the restrictions and everything, we probably could have, but it would have been a really small ceremony, like maybe 10 or 15 people. So we postponed until next year.
Yeah, okay.
So we try and do it properly.
Yeah, that makes sense. You may as well do it right.
Yeah.
Okay, so then here's a question. Since you've been on the same team for 10 years, I played pro for 10 years and I was on all 1-year deals. What have your negotiations been like with Cardiff? Is it mainly been 1-year deals? Have you had longer? Like, how's it gone for you?
So my first year was a 1-year deal. I think then I might have signed, I think my second contract was a 3-year.
So once you've proven yourself and that you're a good Brit in the league, then you got a 3-year deal.
Yeah, and then after that, it was mostly 1-year deals. I think there may have been a 2-year deal, like in the early part of the new ownership group, but like the last few seasons, it's all been 1-year deals.
Yeah, I was just curious if the Brits had it any different than the rest of us. I was all 1-year deals. It can get stressful, you know.
Yeah, I think they want to keep you on your toes. You know, they don't want people to
fat and lazy.
Yeah, I think I know. Like in the NHL, you see some players have like it'll be a contract year, and they're just like having a ridiculous year, won't they? So maybe they're trying to have that every year.
Right. Yeah. It was a contract year every year for me. I know that.
Yeah. Okay. And you produced, so it worked.
I guess so. Yeah. But anyways, the next year when I'm hurting doing the pregame speeches, though, that's the second year in a row you make Team GB, eh? So where'd you go the second year?
Where was the second year? I think that was.
You guys lost again. You finished second. I think that there was a story behind that too. Yeah, I'm not sure. You're the one living it, not me, man.
Oh yeah, I know, but my brain isn't as good as it used to be. Probably too many hits to the head.
You got to stop fighting those people we were talking about.
Yeah, exactly. Or start fighting them smarter. Yeah, I think that was Croatia, I believe, in Zagreb. And again, I remember we played Italy, Lithuania. Who else? Croatia, obviously. I think we lost against Ukraine, I believe.
The last game, right? To not move up.
Yeah. Yeah, I think again I think we might have scored the first goal or two, and I remember I think they tied it up, and then we were kind of like on our heels the rest of the game, and we were just absorbing like attack after attack, and eventually they got the winning goal by us. And yeah, it was again 2 years in a row we could have got promoted, but had to settle for silver, which was a shame.
Well, it is, but the guys got it done there. I think it was the year after, right?
Yeah, so when I didn't make the team, they started winning gold medals.
So how does that work for making the team? Is it just based on how you play that year in the EIHL, or is there actual like tryouts?
They do. So they pick the team just based on how you play, and then there is usually like a 2-week training camp, and I think after the first week, or you play a couple of games, exhibition games, and then they usually make the cuts based off that. But this year they just picked the team straight up because there was obviously
there wasn't much hockey played.
Yeah. So I think they just wanted to get the team there and keep it at that.
Because I saw you made the team in 1920. So is that during the pandemic? You played in the Olympic qualifiers.
So that was the year the season got shut down.
Okay.
So the Olympic qualifiers were before the season finished, I believe. I'm not sure if it was January, February, potentially.
How'd you guys do in that?
We had to beat Hungary to get through to the next round, and we lost to them. I don't think it was very close. I think they kind of.
So then you won't be in the Olympics, is what you're saying?
No, so we would have had to win that group and then go through to the next round, which I think was in Norway potentially.
Okay.
Yeah, but that didn't happen. That was in Nottingham as well that year. So it was kind of stacked in our favor, but Hungary just got one over us on us in that game, unfortunately.
Okay. Well, I don't have too much other than still shooting the breeze because you played for the same team your whole career, but you won 2 league titles and 2 playoff championships. So, um, which one, like, is there any good celebration stories we need to hear, like winning a playoff or league that were fun nights?
Yeah, the thing that immediately comes to mind was after we won the playoffs the second year. The first year we won, we kind of did the on-ice celebration and like had a had the celebration in the changing room, then got on the bus and went home. Whereas the second year, there's there's a bar outside from the rink in Nottingham in like the plaza area. I can't remember what it's called, but all the fans are in there. So we kind of finished our celebration in the dressing room and then filled it up there. And they had a stage and then they were calling us on the stage like one by one as we arrived. And I remember I had the mascot head on and was like dancing on the stage and
That
doing
mascot
stuff.
head has been through a lot, eh?
Yeah. um yeah, I was doing some I don't know, I think some like Cardi B dances or something like that. So the kind of thing you wake up in the morning and think, oh, what was I doing? But
Oh yeah.
it was all on social media for me to see, which wasn't great for the anxiety, but it was good just to like share that with the fans and kind of enjoy it rather than just having to sit on the bus for 3 hours. But yeah, that was definitely a good time.
I man, the social media and then like winning stuff like that and the celebrations, like it sometimes it's not good for hockey that social media's out there, you know? It's like when you pick up
Yeah,
a flag in the crowd and then you forget like the game's changed, and then as soon as you grab it, there's like 1,000 phones on you. You're like, oh right, you know?
yeah, that's it. There's positives and negatives to social media, but yeah, I think you got to be careful when you're, especially when you're celebrating, that you don't get too wild.
Yeah. So with the new coach, have you started before the positive test? Were you playing D then?
Yeah, so I'm playing D this year. That was we kind of spoke about in the summer. I think that's kind of I think me and Todd spoke and we both agreed that's probably my best chance of making GB is as a defenseman. Um, and the way they put the roster together, I think they wanted to. So we've gone with 3 British defensemen this year: myself, Richie, and Ben O'Connor.
Good player too. He's gonna
Yes,
come on the pod too, by the way.
yeah, he's a great guy. So yeah, I think with having the 3 of us on D, it kind of opens up another import forward spot. So that's kind of the way we've gone this year. So I'm looking forward to it. Obviously, a lot more responsibility, but hopefully, if I play well enough, it will give me the best chance to make GB again as a defenseman. So that's the goal.
Yeah, for sure. So O'Connor shoots left, Richie's right. They don't Do they play together, or are they each playing with an import? Are you each playing with an import?
Yeah. So the pairings we were going with prior to my isolation was myself with Mark Lewis, and then Richie was with Matt Register,
Okay.
and then Ben O'Connor's with Brendan Mickelson.
Yeah, you guys have solid team, eh? I know a few of those names.
Yeah, yeah, I think yeah, like Matt Register, he was I think he's won ECHL Defenseman of the Year a couple of times, like been on the All-Star team. And then Mickelson played in the NHL. He's got a few NHL games under his belt. For Calgary, I think as well, which the owners are a big fan of.
Right. Yeah. Or he's from there or something. I don't know who he
Yeah,
played.
he is from there as well, I think.
Yeah, no, I'm excited to see how you guys do this year. To be honest, I wish I knew more guys on the team. There's not many guys left that I know.
Yeah. Well, I'm
Uh,
sure if you have another Wally night, you'll get to know him pretty quickly.
well, I don't think it's a Wally night that I want to come over for. We already had that. So what does happen in the UK when your 10th season? Do you know? Have you heard of these things? I think they're called testimonials. Have you heard of those? Because you're in your 10th season.
Hey, I think it's like a memorial or something, a
No, I think it's like
tutorial.
a celebration for all your hard work and dedication to the team, I think. I know
Yeah, I think
Todd threw one for himself in Belfast.
yeah, I did hear that actually. He got one over on the owners at the time, didn't he, or something?
Yeah. So has there been any talk about that?
Yeah, there has. The tricky thing was it last season. Well, the last season we had in Cardiff, so 1920, that was Myers' testimonial. Um, Obviously, because the season finished when it did in March, he didn't get to have his testimonial game.
Yeah.
Um, so Todd basically said that we can't have two testimonials running at the same time. So I'm going to have to, after Myers, I think he's going to have his testimonial game next summer or next spring, whenever.
I just
And
saw
then,
on social media what Mizey put out there after, I guess, not coming to terms with Cardiff. He just did this like yesterday, put up a
yeah, so
video of him talking to the fans and saying goodbye. Like, what a classy dude. There's not a lot of people that I guess would do that, come on and be as classy as he was and exit the way he is after not getting a deal. I'm sure he wanted more than anything to stay there. It's his home. Um, but the way he said that, the way he spoke, the guy's just a pure pro and just all class, eh?
yeah, definitely. It was definitely the very classy thing that he did. I think he just accepts that, like at the end of the day, it's not personal. It's just kind of the way that the coach wanted to go with the team this year, and there was a reduction to the roster size as well. So perhaps he was a victim of that. But yeah, I think he kind of understands that it's just business, and obviously unfortunate because I think, like he said in the video, there's nowhere he would rather play than Cardiff. I think he still wants to play, so I'm not sure. We'll have to see how it plays out if he finds somewhere in this league or somewhere in Europe to play or something. But yeah, it'd be a shame to see him retire. I don't think he plans on doing that. So yeah, hopefully we'll see him playing somewhere again this season.
Yeah, definitely. It's weird because when this coach, I guess, didn't bring him back or made the decisions. It's funny because after Lordo's first season as the player coach, he let Mizey go too, if people don't remember that.
Yeah,
And he left. And for me, the first year I played a lot with Mizey and I had a good year, and I didn't realize how important he was to my game and my success until I didn't have him. I needed a guy going to the net. I needed a guy standing in front. I needed a guy that would give me the puck. He did everything I wanted in a centerman, and I didn't realize how important he was until he was gone. I hope
yeah,
that's not the case again this time, but Lordo sure wanted him back after 1 year. So, you know.
that's true. Yeah. Yeah, I played with him as well on the left wing, but obviously me and you are very different players, so he would probably rather have you back there than me. But yeah, he does all those things that perhaps don't get all the adulation and all the credit, but yeah, like good on face-offs, kills penalties, and all that kind of stuff.
And then like on the
Yeah,
forecheck, working in the corners, freeing the puck up for a guy like me, like he would get me the
yeah,
puck. Like no, it didn't matter if it was in the neutral zone, in the offensive corners, like battling around the net, falling down. He's always getting you the puck, right?
yeah, yeah. He's always falling down, but
May
yeah,
not
but
look
yeah,
good.
yeah. Yeah, I know he'd get the fans going with his PK checks, disrupting the breakout and just doing what he does best, all the little things that really help the team win. I think he
Locker
still
room will
has,
probably smell better in the mornings though this season, eh? No more mackerel or whatever it was he'd eat in the mornings.
yeah, that wasn't the best. I think that was probably his biggest downfall.
Yeah, maybe
But
that's why they didn't have him back, was the stinky fish in the
yeah,
morning.
yeah, maybe that was it. I think he's pretty good. He wouldn't really have it in the room anymore. I think he'd go outside and have it, but
Yeah, stunk.
yeah, it wasn't the best smelling snack in the world.
Wasn't what I was having for pre and post practice snack.
You're on the bagel with double Nutella.
Well, Lordo wouldn't let me have bagels either. I was a closet eater.
As long as no one sees you, it doesn't count.
That's right. Well, I guess one thing we never talked about then is you played for Cardiff your basically your whole career, and then with the pandemic, things have changed, and you did
Yeah.
play for the Manchester Storm in that bubble tournament thing, eh?
Yeah, I played for Swindon as well before that in a couple of little tournaments. But yeah, that was a good experience with Manchester. We were living in a hotel in Nottingham for the duration of it, so that was,
Was it like 30 days you were in a hotel?
yeah, maybe more to me. I think it was like 5 or 6 weeks. And I was still working part time then as well, so I was kind of like we were training. I'd go back to the hotel, work in like I had a tiny room. All the other boys had like nice big rooms. Mine was tiny for some reason. But yeah, that was pretty tough from that perspective, just being in a room alone most of the day. But it was good to get back playing like with the elite league hockey, and we had a good team there as well. A few British players I knew from GB.
I and Zach Sully, who just joined your Devils, I guess, to take your spot, eh?
Yeah, I messaged him. I said, "Don't play too well, or we'll be Finna might be making a trade request."
Yeah, and because he was on, I think he
Sorry,
was
Todd
episode
maybe.
15, 13. I can't keep track anymore. But he was
Yeah, I
on
listened to
when
that
he was
one.
just a Manchester Storm guy. So, folks, I'm not just a Cardiff Devil guy. I'll do all the teams. Don't worry. But I like
Yeah,
calling my
Sully's.
friends, and that's why I wanted to call Batchy first. I'll get to the other
Yeah,
teams eventually, right?
yeah. I think you've got pretty much an unlimited supply of guests for your podcast, which is bodes well for the future, doesn't it?
Well, honestly, I remember when I started and I started kind of flooring it, doing a couple a week, and people kept saying, "Why are you doing so many? You're gonna run out of guys." And I'm like, "Well, like I love it. I like doing this. I want to catch up with my friends and I want to meet new
Yeah,
people. Like this is what I like. I like talking hockey. I like hearing stories. I like hearing how it all went for people." And like there's more and more guys. There's an army of guys that will come on, and like the new season, you just made a whole bunch of new teammates, and I'm sure I could have on a few of them. And then there's all the other teams. Like I think it's like you said that hockey players are a lot of them have the sayings that are kind of like robots and whatever, but you get in this platform and we're just shooting the shit, and then people can be real, right?
yeah, yeah. I think that's why like Spit and Chicklets have had so much success, because it's like you don't get you're not getting a company line, are you? Kind of getting to see different side of people rather than like a 30-second clip. You can kind of get to know them better. And I know when I reposted the story on Instagram, I had a couple of fans said they were excited just because they love the podcast so much. And even personally, I've enjoyed it. Like listening to you talk to like our old teammates and stuff. It kind of brings back the memories and
Yeah,
just helps you relive the glory days a little bit.
I love it more than you could ever imagine. I woke up at 6 a.m. to talk. Well, no, I woke up at 5:30 today to talk to you, Josh.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. It means a lot.
Well, no, yeah, this is also the pilot test here for doing overseas players at this time of day, because I don't have that many other hours in the day other than this time of day. So I think this has gone all right. But shout out to Bayfield Brewing Company. We'll get back on the ales tonight, right?
Yeah, obviously no ales for us this morning, just a strong coffee. But
Well,
yeah,
you're an
it's been
active
good.
player. I'm just trying to keep you in shape, Josh. I'm just trying to keep you in shape through isolation. That's why I scheduled it when we wouldn't be drinking beers. I'm just here for your career.
Yeah, no, I'm not sure the new coach and stuff would appreciate me having a beer at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday morning.
Right. I didn't think my company would probably appreciate me smashing beers at 6 a.m. So yeah, I think we're making the right decisions.
Yeah, grown responsible adults now, aren't we? Not like, well, you were an adult when I met you, but when
You
you met
think
me, I was
so?
still a kid. I was
you
still a kid back then.
you thought I was an adult when you met me, eh?
You were a
God,
parent, that makes you an adult.
you're right though. It does. You have to fool everybody then. I still don't feel like an adult. But you get everything done you got to do, right?
Yeah, so I think when I turned 30 now, it's kind of hit me like I do need to grow up a bit more. Not
Oh,
just a 20-year-old.
No, you don't really. You got to enjoy life. I don't know. But anyways, the reason I wanted to have you on, the reason I got up so early is because of the teammate you were. Like you didn't say a lot in the room, but like what you did on the ice, the way you played, you'd stick up for anybody, you'd do anything for the team. You never, if you're fourth line, if you're fifth or 60, you never bitched about anything. You always showed up as a pro and ready to play. And that's how you play on the same team for 10 years. And that's how you win stuff. And that's how you stay on the team through different coaches, is because when the new coaches come in, everybody raves about the teammate you are and the person you are. So keep it up. Way to go.
Oh, thanks. That means a lot. It's some very kind words.
It's a podcast. It's the only time I'm ever going to be this nice to you.
Yeah, I know. I was gonna say I don't think I've ever had a compliment off you before.
I usually don't give people compliments.
Yeah, you got to keep people honest, haven't you?
Well, you got to chirp people and keep it real, right? You got to
Yeah.
push them.
That's it. That's what it's about, holding each other accountable and getting better every day and all those cliches.
There you go. You're nailing all the cliches. You're so that guy, aren't you? Every interview.
I'm trying to be a finance professional. I got to keep a tight ship.
Okay. Well, next time we do this, we'll try and plan it for a time where we can have a couple ales and be true to the brand, right?
Yeah, well, we sort of touched on the testimonial, but
Yeah.
obviously it won't be this year, but potentially next year if it goes ahead. Obviously, you'll come over for that
Oh gosh.
as a
Talk dirty to
guest
me,
of
Josh.
honor.
Talk dirty to me.
Guest of honor, Brent Walton. Maybe we can do an in-person podcast. First
Oh
one.
yeah. No, seriously, that would be incredible if I got to come over and celebrate your game and your career. That would be really cool. And hopefully Mizey's all happens too, because nobody else deserves it more than him too, right?
Yeah, definitely. As a local boy, I think the fans would love to see it happen. I think it still will. So we'll see. But yeah, it'd be good to get you over again. It was obviously Wally night was a big success. So I think if we had you over for the testimonial, I'm sure the fans would love it.
Oh, I sure would too. I'd love to come see you boys and celebrate your career, because you're only 30 years old, man. You got another 10 years left in you, eh?
Maybe not 10, but hopefully at least 5. We'll see. See if have to start picking up some more of Richie's habits and see what his secrets are. 'Cause I think he's aging backwards at this point. So
Well, I'll never forget the day Lordo had me on the big diet that summer, trying to get me to lose weight before the year I got injured. And
yeah,
I was even fudging some of the numbers to try and make myself look better and more dedicated than I was. And I thought I was doing really good. And then he sent me Richie's diet, and he sent it, I think, to the whole team. But he
yeah,
basically, when he sent that to me, I felt so small. I felt just like I wasn't a pro. Like he was even cooking with the right oils for the fattinesses, and
yeah,
the diet was outrageous.
yeah. He doesn't really. I don't think he leaves any stone unturned in like terms of supplements, cool downs, warm ups. He really does everything to look after him. I think you
That's
can
how
just
you
see
keep playing, right? I was all natural, no
yeah,
cool downs, no warm ups, just soccer.
all natural. That's it in 2 touch. Yeah. Maybe I need to mix in a bit more of what Richie does, but
I
yeah, I
think
think
you're
he's
doing fine. I think everybody should be themselves, and I think Richie will probably play till he's 50. Um, but I think you can
yeah,
make her till you're 40, big guy.
yeah, we'll see how the body holds up, but yeah, I want to try and play as long as I can. Obviously, I'm in no rush to leave.
No, don't be. Well, speaking of that, I got to work soon.
Yeah, I gotta
um,
get back to work myself. Actually,
okay. Well,
got to go this
I
afternoon.
wish you a lot of success this season. I hope the Devils continue to be the top team, and hopefully you can get me into the social pipeline with some of the new boys. But I've already been in contact with O'Connor, so I'll get him on for sure. And
Yeah,
we're gonna get Matthew Myers on too, and we'll keep this thing rocking for the fans. I'm also gonna get
yeah.
the Sheffield captain on here soon. We're in discussions.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, we got to keep
Jono.
things fresh for the fans over there, right?
Well, he's a Cardiff boy,
That's
Jonathan
right.
Phillips. So there's some cross club appeal there from the Devils fans and from Sheffield.
Some cross club contamination, I think it's called. Okay. Well, I better get to work. So thank you for coming on. And if you don't have anything for me, I guess that's another episode of Two Ales and Hockey Tales with Batchy and Wally.